friends, welcome back to my channel. I'm Sonny and this is powered by Tea and Tarot. Today I'm sipping on a hot cup of Tevia Youthberry. So grab yourself a cup of something, a cup of coffee, a cup of tea, an adult beverage if it's that time of day for you, and sit back and enjoy our talk. Today I would like to talk to you about how I bonded with Tarot of the Abyss. I like doing deck modifications to help me bond with a deck. Sometimes I've trimmed them. A lot of times I will just edge them in a color. This one, however, was already borderless, so there wasn't really anything to trim off. And it also, it had a lot of white space because it's, you know, a cream and black deck, so it didn't have any color, and the backs were white with a black pattern, so I didn't feel that edging it in a color would actually look right, because the edges on the deck actually already go with the backs really well. So I was trying to think of a way to help get to know the cards, and I was flipping through them. And I was feeling like, you know, I'm sad there's no color in this deck, and this deck would look so beautiful if it had color to it. And I started thinking about how I had read that there was another deck that was created a while back, I don't know, probably in the 70s or 80s, that was made specifically so that it was made black and white so that you could color it yourself and infuse color magic into the deck and make it your own by coloring it. And I was thinking about that and how that would be a really cool idea for the Tarot of the Abyss. So that's what I did. Is even though this has a laminate on the cards, I used some colored Sharpies and I colored my Tarot of the Abyss, and I wanted to share it with you. Here is my Fool card. I used orange and yellow for just about anything that was, you know, the sun or fire related. I tried using variations of orange and yellow to get that fire color. And I didn't want to color the entire thing. I just wanted to put a pop of color on most of the cards in a way that was meaningful for me. So I used a green, or actually it was a teal, and yellow on the Magician. And this one didn't turn out as well as I'd liked. I did do some silver on the Moon and on a couple stripes of her dress and in the hallway in the back and the stars. And the silver didn't go over very well because it was more of a paint, and so you couldn't see through it, and so it like completely covered up all the line work, which I didn't like. And then I used some purple that I actually, this was not a Sharpie, and I used this particular marker on a lot of the cards because the way that marker worked, you could smear it with your finger and make some shading, and I really liked that, and it turned out really well on most of the cards. So this card's not 100% my favorite, but I can live with it. With this one, I added just a little tiny bit of this yellow-green color on the leaves and a little tiny bit of purple on the flowers. I wanted just a hint of color. But I think it turned out pretty good. I wanted to give some fieriness to the Emperor because he, you know, he's, you know, the fire sign, that Aries fire. So I used the orange and yellow on his outfit to kind of give that fieriness. I think that turned out pretty well. And I also used the same orange and yellow on the fire in the Wise One, which I absolutely adore this card. I love it so much more than the traditional Hierophant. It really, really speaks to me. I really, really love this card. And the Lover's card, I used a very ultra fine tip brown Sharpie to color in some of the tree trunk to just show a little bit of color. I didn't want to do much with this card because there's not a lot of like green or, you know, flowers or anything. It was all about the roots and the trunk and how they have grown together and become practically the same and become practically one. And I loved that thought, but I wanted it just to have a little bit of color, but not too much. Again, with the Chariot, I chose to give it some of the sunbeams coming down on our charioteer. And then on the Strength, I didn't use very much color at all, just in the eyes and the lip color of the woman in the Strength card. I used a real dark pink. I didn't want it to really detract from the artwork by trying to, because this is a very dark card and I didn't want to try to get brown in here, and I thought that would take too much away from it, so I just wanted to call out a little bit, just a little bit. And then on the Hermit card, I used a teal, a light teal and a dark teal on the snake, and I used a really light gray and put some streaks in her hair to, you know, to give that real crone energy. I love this Hermit card. I love that crone energy in this card. I think it really speaks to me. I've come to really love this deck, especially now that I've done what I've done with it. I used 2 different shades of teal in the Wheel of Fortune. I used 2 different shades of pink on her lips and just a hint of purple in her eye. I didn't want to do a lot. I just wanted a little bit. I think it turned out really well. I'm really happy with this card. And then the Hanged One, I used a yellow-green, like chartreuse type color, and colored in the grass. And I think that turned out really well. And then the Death card, I used that purpley blue where I could smear it down and kind of give it that fade look, and I think it turned out really, really well. And then with Temperance, I used the yellow and orange for the fire and that same purple that I could smudge for the water. With the Devil, I used the same pink that I used in the Justice card to color the heart and some of the lines coming out of the heart. And then I used the lighter pink to color it in. The Tower card is another card that it didn't turn out exactly the way I'd hoped, because I was trying to use silver and gold to do the lightning, and it just didn't work out very well. So I am a little sad that the silver and gold didn't work. I don't know if you can see it. I tried using some rubbing alcohol to see if I could get it to come off, but it came off a little bit, but not enough. But I did put some brown in the tree. And I think that works really well. I wish I hadn't done anything to this side of the card, but it is what it is. And, you know, you live and you learn, you make mistakes, and you keep on going. So it'll be fine. I like it. The star card, I get you again, use that purple that I was able to smudge around. And I really like the effect of this because it kind of makes me feel like, you know, kind of looking at the deep darkness of the sky, and kind of almost has that aurora borealis kind of feel to it. So I like that. And then with the moon card, again, I used that same purple and smeared it around to make it look like what was coming off of the moon that's enveloping them, was all that purple mystic stuff. And then with the sun, again, I used the orange and yellow, and I just think that the sun card I'm super happy with. I think it turned out really, really well. And then the awakening, I used the that purple and smeared it, and actually used another purple, also a different shade of purple up in the top to kind of give it a little bit of different contrast in there. But I think it turned out really well. I really like how it turned out. And I used the same two colors that I used in the Hermit card on this Aurora Borealis snake with the light teal and the dark teal. I think it turned out pretty good. Love how this Ace of Cups turned out. It's got two different colors of teal plus the purple, all kind of smudged together. And I think it turned out great. I think it looks wonderful. I'm so happy with this one. And then the Two of Cups, again, I'm kind of stuck with those colors, mostly those colors for the whole suit of cups. So it's a light teal, a dark teal, and and the smudging of that purplish blue color. And the Three of Cups, I did the same thing with the water and the three chalices. This one, I didn't like it as well because I used those three colors in the cups to show the water, but it didn't feel like there was enough color. So I haven't decided if I want to just leave this one the way it is, or if I want to maybe make this look like he's sitting in a tree next to water, and maybe this is water too, maybe color that. I haven't decided yet. I just feel like this one doesn't have enough color, but for now, it'll work. And the Five of Cups, again, the two different shades of teal and the purple, I think it looks really good. I really like how this turned out. And the Six of Cups, again, with the two different shades of teal and rubbing in that purple, it kind of turns a little blue with those teals. And the Seven of Cups, I did the same thing, base of the teal, and then went over it and smudged the purple, which kind of made it blue. I really, really like how this one turned out. How I was able to smudge that purple into stripes on her outfit, and the rest of it be those two different shades of teal. I think it looks fantastic. I'm just so excited. I was so happy with that. It turned out way better than I anticipated it looking. So I was really happy. This one's pretty minimal. I just colored in the cups, but I think it turned out okay. And then this Ten of Cups with just doing the wrap around the little boy, I think it looks really good. And I like how, I don't know if it comes off on camera, but you can kind of see where I smudged it, and it kind of gives it like a shine. And it makes it look a little more, I don't know, in depth, but I like it. And then with the court cards, I colored in the waves in the background with those 2 different shades of teal, and then smudged. I tried smudging the purple like on the inside of the waves where it would kind of be dark. I thought that turned out pretty well on these cards. And the Knight. And the Queen. And the King. And with the wands, I used mostly the orange and yellow. In the court cards, I did add some brown. But I love how this ace turned out. The Phoenix with the orange and yellow, I think it turned out really good. I was really happy with this one. And then made my two of wands a ginger. I think he's cute. I like it. 3 of wands with the orange and yellow. And the 4 of wands with the flowers on the cake and the flowers in her hair. I really like how this 5 of wands turned out as well, with the shading of the orange and the yellow. I think it looks really good with the birds. And the orange and the yellow with the flowers on the 6. And orange and yellow in the a kilt, I guess. It's a kilt that he's wearing. And the 7 of wands. And 8 of wands, I just did the wands. I didn't do the birds. I didn't think, I think they're supposed to be geese, so they're not really supposed to be orange and yellow. So I just did the wands themselves. And in the 9 of wands, I did his shield in the orange and yellow to give it that pop of color. And in the 10 of wands, I did the orange and yellow, but I did actually use a little bit of brown in the wands because it didn't look like wands the way that they were clumped together without putting a little bit of brown back into it to give it that bark look. So with the Page of Wands, there's really not any yellow or orange in this one. It's all the brown because, in the Page, she's gathering the supplies in order to make the fire. She's not made the fire yet. There's not really any fire here. It's the preparation. She's learning how to make a fire. So I just used the brown. But then in the Knight of Wands, I used the yellow and the orange to signify the spark that he's creating to make the fire. And then in the Queen of Wands, I used the brown and the yellow and the orange in order to signify that she's taking this power from her head. This bright fire is coming out of her, and she's manipulating the fire, and she's making the fire. She's taking the preparation and the spark, and she is turning it into a working fire. And same thing with the King, only his is fully manifested. And I don't know if you can see, but the fire comes up, and in between his hands, it looks like a lemniscate, which I think is really awesome. So I put in the little brown for the branches that the fire is burning, and then use the yellow and the orange to show up the fire. So I think the court cards turned out really well in the wand suit. I was really pleased. And then the swords, I used that purple where I could smear it and give it some shading. So the entire suit of swords is in this purple color, purplish blue. Got the 2 of swords. I really do love this 2 of swords because the choice is, what face am I going to put on today? How am I going to react today? What personality am I going to show to the people in my sphere of influence today? I really love this card. And then here's the first Three of Swords. I did color both Three of Swords because there's an alternate Three of Swords. And this is the second Three of Swords. I actually think this one turned out really, really good. So the purple kind of makes it, you know, like there's inspiration coming out from behind him. Even though what he might be reading is like, he's like, it's intense. But I really like this. This will probably be the one that I keep in the actual deck, I'm thinking. And then the Four of Swords with the actual fence, the brick fence. And the Five of Swords, I also was able to use that smearing method to highlight the background to help. I was hoping that that would like bring forward this, what's going on here, and the Five of Swords, and how, you know, the conflict is that he's got this poor insect in a jar, and how cruel that can be. And then I did the waves underneath the bird, and our I guess would be little fairy who is flying above the person in the rowboat. And the Seven of Swords, it's really hard because this is such a dark card. It was hard to get the purple into the shading, but I tried. It's there. It's not a lot. It's not real intense, but it's there. And the Eight of Swords. The Nine of Swords. And the Ten of Swords. I did just his beard. And then the alternate Ten of Swords, I did this side to make it look like water. I'll probably keep this Ten of Swords. I like the numerological meaning behind the Ten of Swords better than I do the Rider-Waite interpretation. And here's the Page of Swords. Oops, uh-oh. Knocked over my obelisk. Page of Swords. Knight of Swords. I love her. She's like a badass. I love her. And then we have our Queen of Swords. And the King of Swords. And then the Pentacles. I did yellow and this greenish color. So we have the Ace of Pentacles, and then the Two of Pentacles, and the Three of Pentacles. I actually did the rope that they're pulling together. It's hard to see because that's a really dark card, but I'm hoping that I put enough color in there to really pop out what they're doing. They're working together to build this, to pull it together. And then the Four of Pentacles, and then the Five of Pentacles, and the Six of Pentacles. I just colored in the little sack with the pentacles on it. And the Seven of Pentacles. The Eight of Pentacles. The Nine of Pentacles. And the 10 of Pentacles. I tried really hard to just get the little roots of the tree and the tree trunk. And then I did her thumbnail in a different color, but I wanted to show how the roots tying the two generations together. I thought this is a really beautiful Ten of Pentacles. Just, it really struck me. I love this card a lot. Now my court cards in the Pentacle suit, I had some technical difficulties with my phone. Hopefully we can finish this flip through. As I was saying, the court cards in the Pentacles, I did add a little bit of orange to the flowers in the front, along with the greenish yellow chartreuse color for all of the landscaping, and a little bit of teal for some contrast shadowing. So this is the Page of Pentacles. And then we have the Knight of Pentacles. And the Queen of Pentacles with a little bit of orange in the front. And then the King of Pentacles, again with just a little bit of orange in the front. And that concludes my flip through of how I bonded with the Abyss, Tarot of the Abyss. And I just wanted to say that I'm really happy that I was able to do this with this tarot. It gave me time to really sink into the imagery. It gave me time to think about how these particular images speak to me directly, regardless of what's in the little white book. What's in the little white book is actually really good and adds a whole nother layer, but being able to actually sink into these cards and color them and figure out what to color and just become more intimately connected with these cards through this color process was just absolutely, I really enjoyed this process. It was a bonding experience with this deck that I've never had with any other decks before, and I really enjoyed it. And I highly encourage you to, if you have a deck that you want to work with, but for some reason it just doesn't speak to you, then take a chance and do something to it to help you bond with it. Whether it's writing keywords on the cards, whether it's edging the color, a different color on the side, whether it's taking some fine grit sandpaper and taking off the gilding because you don't like it. Whatever it is, make the deck your deck. Spend time with it, bond with it, and sink into the imagery in order to make the deck yours. Don't ever be afraid to take these pieces of paper and turn them into something that speaks to you directly. So that's my word of advice for today. Thanks so much for watching this flip through, and I hope you enjoyed how I bonded with the Tarot of the Abyss. Thanks for coming and have a great day. Bye.